So, I, a 32-year-old female, Lily, am the eldest of 5 siblings, and I've taken on the role of the family caretaker for as long as I can remember. I helped our parents until their passing, and frankly, it's exhausting. Dad died of brain cancer 3 years ago, and it was heartbreaking to watch him deteriorate over time, and Mom passed peacefully overnight after a long, hard battle with breast cancer earlier this year. Damn it, cancer. So as the oldest, I just sort of became the de facto parent. I don't mind, as I love my siblings, and it's kind of my thing to big sister friends and family a lot. I'm sort of a ship's counselor, and I financially help out my family. I don't mind, as I work in tech, have a side gig doing art, and inherited land and money from Mom and Dad, all that to say it's no real loss. A few years ago, I adopted my cousin's Steven child, who I will just use her nickname Decker. My baby loves kickboxing. After my cousin went to prison for murdering Decker's mother in an alcohol and drug-fueled rage, which is too long a story to add here. It was a chaotic year of mourning, paperwork, and court hearings, but the adoption was finalized when Decker was 5. Now, she's a happy, healthy 13-year-old who calls me Mom. She's in therapy and has been since I legally could send her as she witnessed her mother's death, and I couldn't be prouder of how resilient she is. She's my girl, my rock star, my whole heart, and I call her that, literally, my heart. Fast forward to my sister's, Chloe 30, female upcoming wedding. I was thrilled for her at first, and she asked me to be maid of honor. I cried in joy and offered for my wife Honey, because we like the incredible lol, 40 female and I, to pay for it. Don't worry, I asked Honey first. But during a bachelorette dinner I set up, she made a hurtful comment about my daughter, calling her a mistake and saying I shouldn't have taken her in. I stared at her and asked her what she meant, and she said it wasn't like I was supposed to even have kids, as I am married to another woman. Then said, no hate or anything, and laughed. But then she doubled down that Decker is likely damaged and a handful. Guys, Decker is the sweetest child alive. I mean, she is a teen, so yeah, sometimes she can get challenging or rebellious here or there. But when I say she is my whole heart, I mean it. She made us a family and made our house a home. She smiles easy, cries openly, and has the emotional intelligence I wish I had myself. She always asks, how are you doing? And she really means it, willing to listen to people. But she's a damaged mistake. I felt like a character in a dark, twisted episode of a sci-fi show. Defending my choice to adopt felt like fighting the Borg, like I just wouldn't assimilate. I didn't laugh it off with my sister and her friends. I just stared at her in pure disbelief. I think she knew I was hurt because she quickly changed the subject. I said I better get home, paid for everything, and 3 more rounds, and went home to my family. My sister came over the next day to yell at me for leaving and cutting them off after the 3 rounds I paid for. She said I owe her a do-over for ruining the whole weekend because I can't take a joke. Honey, who I of course told what happened, asked my sister to repeat exactly what she said about our daughter. My sister refused and kept calling Decker Steven's child, and I just was holding back so many tears. I told my sister that I wouldn't be contributing a dime to her wedding expenses, that I won't stop helping her pay her rent until she moves in with her husband, but I won't be in or pay for the wedding of a person who sees my child as a mistake. Honestly, I was ready to go full-on Jedi and sever that connection, but Honey helped me temper myself. My sister lost it, threw the can of soda water we gave her at me, screamed, how am I supposed to pay for this? And I said, you have over a year, you can save up. So left, shaving Honey out of the way in the process, and blew up our sibling group chat. My other siblings are split. Some think I'm overreacting with cutting off funds for the wedding, while others agree that my sister crossed a line and needed the wake-up call. Now, I feel bad for my sister. I do love her, and she is distressed by this, but I can't shake the feeling that standing up for my daughter is more important. Am I the a-hole for refusing to pay for her wedding after that? I am adding this an edit option. I've been working on my work project at a local brewery and have been silently sobbing in reading the comments. Also, wow, so many comments. I was trying to reply to everyone, but I honestly ran out of steam. I sent this post to my wife and also just bracing myself to talk to Decker tonight. We want to ask her if her aunt has done or said anything cruel to or about her. I am wishing hard that she's just confused by our questions and remains oblivious of this crap. I love my heart. I want her to always remain the bright, fun, loving, encouraging person she is. I don't want her to know anything about what her aunt has said. I texted my sister if she meant this, if she really sees me, my wife, and our daughter that way, or was she just drunk and stupid and doubled down in embarrassment? That said, I don't want her near Decker anytime soon. I feel so lost. I wasn't planning on ever being a parent, and there is no damn manual for this. What the heck do I even do? Wish me luck for tonight. I will need it, because if Decker tells us her aunt has been cruel to her face, I will have to hold my wife back from swinging on my sister. Some relevant comments. Commenter. Hell no. You are not the a-hole. No child is a mistake. She's a beautiful gift. And as you said, she made you guys into a family, and she is your whole heart. Kids from broken homes are damaged and full of trauma on the regular. But your child has been through. She is a miracle. I have not adopted my 2 grandkids, but I've been raising them with my ex-husband, Grandpa, for almost 3 years. I can curl your hair with some of the crap these kids were exposed to, and still are to a degree, but that's a story for another day, before Child Protective Services called us. You stepped in, both of you did, to save her. And maybe she saved you guys a bit. Who knows? Let's go. We ride at dawn, take no prisoners. Poster replies, she saved us. She 100% saved us. I take care of myself more, find more in life in general because this girl exists. She is so bright and brilliant, a straight A student, a leader in her sports teams, a friend to be proud of. She saved me from the mundane existence of chasing the almighty dollar. Now I do work hard still, but not to the detriment of myself or my home life. Honey feels the same. Neither of us expected to be moms, outside our literal pack of fur babies, and we were pretty okay with that. When Decker didn't have a family or home, I was so deep in my mourning of her mother and reeling from the actions of my cousin, I barely had it together, but had to take my tape and my glue to hold it together so Decker could have a home. Can I tell you a story? Sorry for being so long-winded. Decker wasn't even 5. And we didn't have legal custody yet, but we were a safe home, so we had temp custody. She was so little, just this itty-bitty thing, chock full of nightmares and anxiety. She would cry her little heart out every single night when we tried to have her sleep in her big girl room. We never forced her to stay, and so she slept in our bed, sandwiched between us, snuggling in. Then one night, this itty-bitty heart said to me sleepily, "I love you, Mama." And my heart broke. I figured she was dreaming of her mother, but then she just started to call me Mama and Honey Mommy, and we just eased into it. So fast forward, and we are moving. She gets onto the boxes and finds my old stuffy, Alistair the elephant, and hugs the ratty thing. I told her his name was Alistair, and that he protected me as a child. She asked if he could protect her, and I asked if she was scared of something, and she said she was afraid to be taken away from Mama and Mommy. I paid good money to make an Alistair the elephant clone with some bits from the original gangster. The original gangster himself was basically falling apart, and I worried something might come off and she could choke. She still has Alistair 2.0. She calls him AL, Meyer commenter. Why do you feel bad for her? What exactly makes you feel bad for her? The fact that she said your child was a mistake? The fact that she doubled down? That she pointed out because you're 2 married women, you shouldn't have children? The fact that she came over and was pissed off that you weren't footing the bill for her dinner and drinks? The fact that she feels entitled to treat you and your family like dirt with no repercussions? Explain to me why you feel bad for her. As a parent, I don't understand where you're coming from at all. The minute that you attack my family, especially my children, all bets are off. If she can't afford a wedding, she shouldn't be getting married. That's what it comes down to. It doesn't sound like she's emotionally mature enough to be married. Why in God's name are you still going to help her with her rent? How old is she? It's time for your sister to grow up and live in the real world. Stop enabling her bad behavior, and in my opinion, would I be the whole if you continued to allow her to get away with this attitude? If I were your daughter, I would be super hurt and pissed off if you maintained a relationship with someone who viewed me as a mistake. Poster replies, explain to me why you feel bad for her? I'm a mother first, so best believe me when I say Decker comes first, but this is sincerely out of left field. My sister never was this way. She's my baby sister, and in our group chat, she just sounds sadder and sadder, and for the first time I can ever remember, I can comfort her. I won't. I cut her off the wedding, and that hurts to do. Mom begged me to look after the others when she was gone, and Mom is gone, so I am all they have now. I am responsible for them. All of them. That said, I am so angry, so overwhelmingly ticked off. She attacked my whole heart, and my instinct, were not my own blood, is to take her to task and decimate her. That scares me. I'm not a vengeful person, or at least I never thought I was. I'm her big sister. I'm her last line of defense. I would fight for her as fiercely, and now I am conflicted. I want to do what's right, but every avenue seems to harm someone. As a parent, I don't understand where you're coming from at all. That's fair. I don't even know where I'm coming from. I'm still working through this. I've never been in this position before. At times I think I'm crazy and need to calm down. Then I look at Decker. The other day she came home over the moon because her crush was sitting next to her in one of her classes. She was just so happy. And I cried. She didn't notice, but then asked, "How was your day?" And I looked at her, loving her so much. She is not a mistake, or damaged, or a burden. She gave me my heart, and my sister called her such awful things. I am ashamed and hate myself. In moments, I hate my sister. I swear to God I was never a hateful person before. It's making me uneasy. Why in God's name are you still going to help her with her rent? She lost her job after Mom died and has been in a lot of therapy over the loss. She was the mama's girl to the fullest, so when I told her Mom passed, she crumbled. She sobbed and begged me that it wasn't true. I've never seen her so depressed. She stopped eating, drank herself silly for weeks. It got so bad, she was hospitalized for self-harm and ideation. She's better now, but I've seen her break down and fall back on those self-destructive habits. I worry for her, and I love her. But I want to hate her so much. If I were your daughter, I would be super hurt and pissed off if you maintained a relationship with someone who viewed me as a mistake. God, this made me sob. I can't even begin to imagine Decker ever thinking she isn't the absolute number one in my life. She's the best of us. I would easily and quickly die for her. I never thought a person could love another person so intensely, but she's everything. Thank you for your comment. It hurt, but I think it was a necessity to see things from an outside perspective. Honey and I are sitting her down tonight to ask if her aunt ever has said anything sideways to or about her. We got pointers from her therapist, so I am hoping it will just be a moment of confusion for her, and she will float out to play video games with Honey, a Saturday night ritual for them, none the wiser. Update 2. I kept my promise to my wife to wait before reacting. She knows me best, and knew I was prepared to go nuclear. Turns out, I needn't have bothered. Let me clear up a couple of small details and misconceptions I've read. I am the eldest of the siblings. Mom and Dad have been sick for years on and off. So to those who think I've just started taking over as some weird power trip or something, no, I've managed their finances, maintained their properties, and taken care of all their affairs before either of them passed. Dad simply wasn't mentally able after a while, and Mom never had a head for that sort of thing. Yes, I was mostly left in charge of my siblings growing up. Both my parents had businesses and worked often 7-day weeks. I cooked dinner and helped with homework and whatnot. I'm aware that's not very normal, and I already know some of you will call my parents terrible for this, but they simply didn't know better. I won't hate them for any of it, and as much as it caused me some negative effects, it also made my siblings feel safe. I'm proud of being able to protect them and be there for them when they were young, so they didn't feel how I felt. And yes, I am also in therapy. I was the sole caretaker of my parents when they passed. The reasons are complicated, but the short of it is, Dad got verbally abusive towards the end, and Mom got severely depressed and blunt. They were a challenge to deal with on the best of days. I hold no ill will towards them, but there it is. My siblings didn't want to be around them. Dad was hurt and changed his will. Mom followed suit. For those telling me I am rewarding Chloe by paying for literally this month, and that I'm not a real mom or a bad mom by loving my daughter's tormentor, I'm envious your world is so black and white. Rent is literally due today, and the money was already in transfer to her via auto banking. And Chloe isn't getting rewarded, she is remaining housed, but from now on, she's on her own. Chloe and I used to be pretty close, but she did get distant around the time Decker was adopted. I didn't know exactly why, just that the new dynamic was a challenge for her. I know she hates Steven and considers him evil and irredeemable. She had a really hard time losing our cousin-in-law, Decker's biological mother, as they were very close, so I assume her issues stem from this. I inherited the majority of everything, though my siblings got sizable sums. 3 got all but one of the businesses my parents owned, and everyone got trusts. Chloe spiraled after Mom passed and had a mental health crisis. Before we got her help, she traveled, drank, and gambled away her entire inheritance. Long story for another time. I didn't have a moment to cool down and wait until today to give myself a chance to make a level-headed decision regarding my sister. Chloe has spun the tale that I am jealous she found a loving man and is withholding Mom and Dad's money from her. She gave the perception that I was the one abusing Decker, putting her down, and telling her she isn't my real daughter. That shut down when I sent my text a couple days ago. Yesterday, Chloe was on my doorstep. She was crying and begging for me to let her in, but my wife and her friends were inside, and I made it clear I don't want her near my family as she emotionally abused my daughter and physically harmed my wife. I told her to leave or I would call the police to have her removed. I was going to call the police anyway because I told her never to come to our home again, and there she was. There's a reason I said this in text, so I could, in an event like this, show them clear as day that she would know she is welcome. Chloe started to beg, saying she will apologize to Decker, and she was drunk and upset and made mistakes. I could tell she was drunk, or high, or something. I told her it's not a simple mistake to bully a traumatized teen girl and make her feel unloved and unwanted by her own family, and to text her that she is worthless and expendable. What the heck? I got angry and just started to raise my voice. I don't know when I started to yell, but I did. I just lost it. She's a cold-hearted, awful, self-serving brat. Spoiled beyond belief to being so delusional that this all would just go away. She's entitled to the money my wife and I make, that our parents gave us after all she did. She needs holy crap help, and I am done being the giving tree here. You don't ever hurt my child. She's lucky. I have a head to keep my hands to myself, and luckier still, Honey isn't out here because she certainly would not, so go the damn home. Chloe slapped me across the face and called me a beach and a traitor, that I chose that demon spawn of a child over her. That I love Decker more than my own real family and turned my back on her this way. Honey must have been right by the door, because before I could make a very bad choice, she had yanked me inside, told my sister that she had 60 seconds to get lost, and slammed the door closed. Chloe left quickly, but we still called the police and handed over the footage from our property cameras of what happened, as well as the texts from our phones. Chloe went ballistic over text, telling me awful things, ending with her hoping I take my own life and she would celebrate. Absolutely unhinged, awful damn thing like that. I blocked her, sent every piece of footage in a Google Drive, and dropped the link in the sibling group chat and sent it to Kevin, her fiancé. I then sat down and cried myself into a fit before Decker came home from practice. I put on my mom face for her and made sure she did her homework. Then I went to the den and called my aunt, Decker's biological grandmother, and told her what happened. My aunt told me that Chloe is renewing her conspiracy that I am harming Decker, and that I need to be careful because she suspects Chloe is having some sort of mental break and might do something crazy. Honey and I have spent this whole day working on a request for a protective order from her, making sure Decker's school knows no one is to pick her up but us, and get a lawyer because I think legal action is needed here. I told my eldest of the brothers that Chloe needs help and asked if he could check on her because she might be as much a danger to herself as she is now to me and my family. He got quiet and said, "Can't you handle this?" and said this drama was too much and he's busy. I was so stunned I just blurted out, "Are you damn kidding me right now?" before I just hung up. My other sister is now over, helping me deal with this. My other brother has gone to see after Chloe, but says he will only make sure she hasn't hurt herself. But beyond that, she can get wrecked for what she's done. Kevin called me and said he went through the Google Drive and begged me not to call the police on Chloe. He said that she has been having a really bad time and has struggled with drinking and has been stealing his medications, and he's trying to get her help. But if she gets arrested, he doesn't have the funds for bail or any legal help. I told him it's too late. The police have been called, and he needs to get her into some sort of rehab or something. He asked for our help to pay for a facility he was thinking of, and I told him to keep her away from me and my family. He started to cry and told me I'm an awful sister, that I don't care about Chloe and her struggles, and that she's just lost, and he's underwater trying to keep her from going off the deep end. I didn't reply after that, and have just been sitting around the house waiting for the police to call back, trying to get my crying out for the way before Decker comes home from school. I feel wretched and terrible because no matter what I do now, it will just never feel right. I was to look after them all, and now my sister is this lunatic hell-bent on burning my life down, and my brother is alarmingly just indifferent to it all. I am used to being the one that holds the family together and handles things, but I don't feel like I can handle anything anymore. WTF is my life. Update 3. Too tired to do the song and dance, so if you want the rundown, it's on my account. I think I just desperately need to write this out. We went no contact with the whole of my side of the family about a month and a half ago, aside from my other sister, not Chloe. Decker has been in therapy, and frankly, so have I and Honey both individually, and a bi-weekly couples therapy session. A lot has changed. I didn't realize how much the abuse I suffered at the hands of my uncle really affected me. His reaction to Decker never bothered me or really had a stake in my emotional or mental state, but more that my mother made me forgive him and be polite when he was around. It's always been that way. I was the eldest, so I turned the other cheek until I had no cheeks, then I turned the old ones. I was never really permitted to have negative emotions or get angry. This situation with Chloe blew a lot of dust up, and Honey and I started to have issues. She noted how reserved I tend to be, and even with her, I struggle with asking for what I want or expressing displeasure. I shut down or deflect. It sucks to learn this about yourself when the rest of your world is falling apart. Chloe was arrested for my assault and ended up doing a mental health program for a month rather than getting a conviction. As such, her record is clean of that from what I understand. It was hard cutting her and the others off. My other sister was the one keeping me up to date on everything. Chloe got out a while ago. She's been trying to get in touch every way she can. She got a new number, email, Facebook, even TikTok. She's written and mailed numerous letters. I am exhausted because I hate cutting everyone off. It's so isolating always having my siblings around and now only really having one sister, so suddenly is really lonely. I focus on Decker and Honey. Honey seems happier overall. She's dancing in the kitchen again, is more affectionate with me, and is more excited to go out and do things. And Decker is also happier. We've focused less on her grades and praise her more for her sense of kindness, her stick-to-it attitude, and more. She's more open with me in particular. She talks about crushes and friends more now, shares about the intricate life of a teen, lol. It's really very cute. I'm not so okay, but my family is safe and happy, which is what matters. Chloe's fiancé, Kevin, reached out to me 2 days ago. Chloe has been released and has been out for a week or so, it sounds like, but she still has outpatient rehab to do. It's encouraged for her to have family and to be supported, Kevin says. And he says she isn't doing well. She started talking about self-harm, and she confided in him that the same uncle that abused me abused her. He's begging me to talk to her and help her through this. He keeps reminding me of how she was before all this and how close we were. Calling what we were close may be incorrect because based on what I'm learning, our relationship was toxic from the start. I was an enabling sister to a manipulative and narcissistic one. I held my ground and spoke to Honey, who agreed I should keep no contact and block Kevin and simply rely on my other sister for info. But I can't help but feel guilty. I wish Chloe well, but I can't risk cracking the door open and risk the well-being of my family. I think I just feel alone. I know I can't have her in my life anymore. It just hurts. Sorry for the delay in updating. And to those who have been gentle, or at least firm but fair with me in my private messages, I thank you. There was never a manual on how to be a good wife or mother, and I have lived an existence of feeling so out of my depth. I appreciate the support.